Welcome everyone to the National Soccer Network for our Girls Michigan High School ranking show. I'm Kennedy Broadwell alongside Dan Stickrat. Tonight we're not doing rankings, but we do have teams to watch. Dan, tell everyone where we got these teams from and what they can expect tonight.
Well, first of all, since the last time we did a ranking show back in October with the boys soccer season, the Premier Media Group has transformed from the Michigan Soccer Network to the National Soccer Network. But here in our home state, we still promise to deliver the best soccer coverage possible at all levels of the soccer period. These preseason to watch list, these are 15 to 25 schools in each of the state's 4 divisions presented by the Michigan High School Soccer Coach Association. So the division chairs in each of the 4 divisions have provided us a list here earlier today. We will go down each of the teams in each division. We'll talk about each team and kind of project how things will shape out here over the next few months. Exciting times, 460 plus teams across the state, nearly 70 conference champions will be crowned before the end of May, and the state tournament starts right before Memorial Day weekend. So when we come back from the break, we will dive right into Division 4.
Awesome, and we've seen some things change in the soccer landscape. I don't want to give too many things away, but we'll see different things in D3. Lots of good things to look forward to when we come back. Again, you're watching our Michigan High School Girls Ranking Show presented by JustSlabbed. We'll see you with Division 4 after the break.
Today I'm going to tell you about sportsmanship because it's important. Treat your opponents the way you would want to be treated. My mom says that. Listen to the referees. It's their job. Be nice to their team and our team. Cheer them on. Always play fair. It's the right thing to do. It's sportsmanship. It's not that hard.
We are the MHSAA, a collection of 750 high schools and 750 middle schools. From Temperance to Copper Harbor, from New Buffalo to Alpena. Each year, more than 250,000 students play one of our 28 sports. More than 1.5 million fans attend our postseason games. There are 30,000 coaches and 8,000 officials, not to mention all of the volunteers. The MHSAA believes in the 4 S's. School sports should be safe and kept in the appropriate scope. We believe nothing beats great sportsmanship, and that scholarship in the classroom is more important than excellence on the field or court. Most of all, we believe school sports should be fun. So come out and join us at a game. Support your school, support your community, and come see what the excitement is all about.
Welcome back to the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show. Kennedy Broadwell alongside Dan Stickrat. We've got Division 4 preseason teams to watch coming at you. Dan, a prelude?
Yes, we'll talk about Jackson, Lumen, Christie here in a minute, but 15 teams were provided to us by the Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association. These are 15 teams to watch. As the season progresses, we'll see a lot more teams in and out of this top 15 plus honorable mentions. We'll go through Division 3, Division 2, and Division 1 later in the show, but here we are with Division 4.
Yeah, let's go ahead and see who our list is, starting off with Saugatuck, going into Saginaw, Newville Catholic Central, Royal Oak Shrine Catholic, Plymouth Christian, North Muskegon, Muskegon Western Michigan Christian, Leland, Lansing Christian, Kalamazoo Hackett Catholic Prep, Kalamazoo Christian, who you can see is the D4 runner-up, Jackson Lumen Christie, the D4 state champ, Grosse Pointe Woods University Liggett School, Granville Calvin Christian, Elk Rapids, and Auburn Hills Oakland Christian. All right, Dan, anything in specific really standing out to you about this list?
Well, we'll start with Jackson Lumen Christi, your defending state champs. They had a really slow start to the 2024 season. They actually only finished 7th out of 8 teams in that Catholic High School League AA division. But mid-season, they kind of turned the tables. They lost early in the campaign to Royal Oak Shrine 5-0. They got a revenge game against Shrine in those regional finals last year, knocked off Shrine. They got to the state finals, and the 2023 state champion Kalamazoo Christian went down in a shootout to Jackson Lumen Christi. So Lumen Christi will have a target on its back this season. They still have several holdover players for their 2024 state championship team. You look at Kalamazoo Christian, last year's runner-up, over the last 25 years or so, they have been one of the staples here in Division IV. Always look for the Jay Allen and the Comets to make a deep run in the postseason. They're in the same league with Kalamazoo Hackett Catholic Prep. That's the Southwestern Michigan Athletic Conference Valley Division. Saugatuck is the defending champion in the Lakeshore Division. There's 2 divisions, about 15 schools. Further down that list, Muskegon, Western Michigan Christian, and North Muskegon. They're generally in the same district year in and year out. Just a few miles separate those 2 schools. North Muskegon won the Western Michigan Conference last year, while Western Michigan Christian was an independent. So look for those 2 teams to be staples in Division IV as well. Grosse Pointe Woods University Liggett, they have made multitude of long runs in the postseason. They got to the Final Four 2 years ago. Last year, the Knights, a little bit of a rebuilding job, but they're expecting much better this year. Granville Calvin Christian, another team out of that west side, always seems to be a contender. They have won 4 state championships in the last 20 years. Lansing Christian was down slightly last year. They're in that Lansing area, and they expect them to be one of the teams in their conference. Plymouth Christian won the Michigan Independent Athletic Conference title last season, edging out Auburn Hills Oakland Christian by just a point in those conference standings. Oakland Christian did make the run to their first Final Four, so look for the Lancers. They returned several different players up and down their lineup. They should be one of the best teams in Division IV. Royal Oak Shrine Catholic, they have been to a multitude of Final Fours here in the last decade. Leland out of that Traverse City area, another team. They're in the Northwest Conference. They are looking to contend in their conference and make another deep run. Saginaw Nauvoo Catholic Central, they're out of the blue division of the Tri-Valley Conference. They actually won that division last year, edging out Saginaw Valley Lutheran and Hemlock for the conference crown. Nauvoo has made a multitude of a lot of long runs in Division IV here in recent years, so expect Nauvoo to be a huge factor again in the race. Again, these are 15 teams provided to us by the Michigan High School Soccer Coach Association. There will be several other teams that will work their way onto this list, either in the top 15 or honorable mention. We will have the first official ranking show here in a couple of weeks. But a lot of these teams did very well last year. We expect each of these teams to be factors in their conference races or factors in the state tournament come the end of May. Districts will start just before Memorial Day weekend, and then the district semis and district finals will be right after that holiday break. And then we will roll into the regionals and then to the state finals in mid-June up at DeMartin Stadium at Michigan State University.
And right now you're seeing our field cam right here in our Detroit office. Lovely. When we come back, we'll have your Division III teams to watch. Once again, you're watching the National Soccer Network and watching our Michigan High School Soccer Girls Ranking Show presented by JustSlabbed.
At Sarah Buick GMC Rochester Hills, football season is a great time to show off our new lineup.
Like our star players,
our beefed up defense,
our hurry up offense,
and our impressive stats.
Check out these highlights.
Right now, you can lease this GMC Sierra Elevation Crew Cab for $239 a month, or take the field in a Buick Envista Preferred for just $159 a month.
With offers this good, you should start practicing your touchdown dance.
Only at Sarah Buick GMC Rochester Hills.
The good life shouldn't be reserved for the few. The finest cuisine should always be on the menu. And looking good shouldn't just be for the rich and famous. At Meijer, we believe that real life deserves real good, and we work hard to bring more of it. Here, quality meets value, and selection meets savings. So the good life is always within reach. we do more to make life a good deal better. At Meijer.
We gon' push it to the limit, we gon' rise together, side by side to the finish. Down the ride forever, when we ride, we gon' ride together. So together we ride, certified. It's together we ride, we gon' push it to the limit. We gon' rise together, side by side to the finish. Down the ride forever, when we ride, we gon' ride together. So together we ride, certified. It's together we ride, we gon' push it to the limit. We gon' rise together, side by side to the finish. Down the ride forever.
Welcome back to the Michigan High School Girls Ranking Show. You're watching the National Soccer Network. I'm Kennedy Broadwell alongside Dan Stickerat. We're here to talk Division III, where things are getting a little movie and shaky. What's going on, Dan?
Shaky. We will have a new state champion in Division III this year. Hudsonville Unity Christian, who has won 12 state titles with 4 state runner-up trophies down in Division III, enrollment-wise has been moved up to Division II. That leaves the door wide open for a new state champion here in 2025.
We're going to go straight into our list, see who could potentially take that spot. Here it is. We're going to start with Williamston. Then there's Warren, Regina, Traverse City St. Francis, Notre Dame Prep out of Pontiac, North Point Christian, Grand Rapids, Macomb Lutheran North, Grosse Ile, Grand Rapids West Catholic, Freeland, Frankenmuth, Flint Powers Catholic, Essexville Garber, Detroit Country Day, Almont, and Allegiant.
Well, Grosse Ile was the state runner-up to Hudsonville Unity Christian in the last 2 years, so is the door open for Grosse Ile to make that run and finally get a state championship after being the bridesmaid the last couple of years? We'll see. A lot of very talented teams, a lot of familiar faces on that Division III list. Allegan is an up-and-coming program out of just south of Grand Rapids. Almont has been knocking on the door. They are the defending Blue Water Area Conference champions. They outdueled Richmond and Armada last year, and they have been a team that's kind of been knocking on the door. They've had a hard time getting out of their district. They've played teams like Flint Powers Catholic in recent years. So Detroit Country Day was your state champion 3 years ago in Division III. They've made a numerous number of long runs. They got to the Final Four in Division III last year. You look at Essexville Garber, Frankenmuth, and Freeland. They're all in the same conference, the Red Division of the Tri-Valley Conference. That's up in the Midland, Bay City, Saginaw, and Flint areas. All three of those teams have the capability of making a deep run. Essexville Garber lost in a district championship last year, but they've been putting up some gaudy offensive numbers. Freeland got to the Final Four. And Frankenmuth is a team that should bring back most of their players. Grand Rapids West Catholic, they've kind of been waiting in the wings behind Unity Christian, competing in a lot of the same districts and the same conference here in recent years. They should be very good this season. Williamston was a very young team. They kind of rebuilt last year. They lost their district championship to Ovid LC, but they had a very big and talented freshman class last year. They should be much more seasoned here in 2025. Warren Regina, they were in a tough district last year. They did knock off Pontiac Notre Dame Prep in that district semifinal. So the Satellites are another team hoping to make a deep run. Traverse City St. Francis, they won the last Lake Michigan Conference championship last year. That conference disbanded, so St. Francis is an independent this year. They will not play a conference schedule, but they are a team that has definitely been on the rise here in recent years. In the Grand Rapids North Point Christian, another team that has been a quality side here over the last decade. You kind of look at the list overall, it's kind of spread out across the lower peninsula for Division III. A lot of very good teams, a lot of teams with a lot of history, a lot of success in recent years. Each of these teams, if they're not an independent, should contend for at least a conference or district championship here in 2025.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Dan. All right, when we come back, we'll talk Division II. Once again, you're watching the Michigan High School Girls Ranking Show. We'll be right back after this break.
Whether you're a beginner coach or a seasoned professional, one thing remains the same: the passion to teach and inspire the next generation of players. Now imagine a place where you could share your coaching knowledge, connect with others, and create a lasting impact. Welcome to the ultimate coaching community, where coaches from all levels can create and share their own courses. Whether you have years of experience or you're just getting started, this is your chance to make your voice heard. Create your own personalized courses, share drills, strategies, and tips, and watch as your knowledge reaches coaches from all corners of the soccer world. With a platform designed for sharing, learning, and growing, you're not just teaching the game, you're creating a community of like-minded coaches, all striving to be the best they can be. Together, we'll elevate the game and support one another to be better, stronger coaches.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show. We've got your teams to watch in Division II coming at you right now. But Dan, just for everyone, explain again where we're getting these teams from.
So each week, these are provided by the division chairs by the Michigan High School Soccer Coach Association. These are, again, just the preseason teams to watch. 15 to 25 schools in each division is presented by the Coach Association. And in Division II, things will get a little bit more tougher to win a state championship, as we alluded to earlier in the show. Hudson Unity Christian, who has been in the 16 state finals in the last 25 years, winning 12 state crowns, they are now up in Division II, and there is an absolute logjam of great teams in that Grand Rapids-Muskegon corridor on the state's west side. So let's dig into Division II. We'll see which teams the Coach Association believes will be some of the front runners here in 2025.
Absolutely. Like we said, Hudson Unity Christian right there. Stevensville, Lakeshore, Spring Lake, the defending D2 state champ. Plainwell, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Mason, Birmingham, Marion, New Boston Huron, Holland Christian, Richland, Gold Lake, Grand Rapids Forest Hill Central, Grand Rapids Christian, Goodrich, East Grand Rapids, and DeWitt. They're really loving these Grand Rapids schools. I feel like every sport there is, you always get like a Grand Rapids gauntlet. Like, I don't know what's in the water over there, but something good.
But it starts with Spring Lake, the defending state champs. Not too far away, just east of Muskegon, Michigan, a half-an-hour drive out of Grand Rapids. Spring Lake, Becky May, a former Michigan State player, took that team to the Final Four last year. They ended up defeating Birmingham Marion 1-0 in the final. That was an epic clash. However, Spring Lake did lose 5 players to the collegiate ranks. They still have several holdovers, so Spring Lake will be a team that will still be very formidable here in 2025. Down the road, Hudsonville Unity Christian. You look at Grand Rapids Christian, they were a really young team last year, lost in the district championship. They were a sophomore-heavy team. Grand Rapids Forest Hill Central, a team that has been consistently very good here in the last 25 years or so. They lost to Spring Lake in the regional semifinals last June. Orchard Lake St. Mary's, just in their 4th season this year. Last year they got to the regional finals. They had a taste of the flu that kind of ran through the program during the regional week. They were upset by DeWitt out of the Lansing area. DeWitt is one of the top teams in that Capital Area Athletic Conference, along with Grand Ledge. You expect Okemos as well as in that conference. So the 3 of those teams will contend in the blue division of the CAAC. East Grand Rapids, your state runner-up 2 years ago. That's a junior-heavy team. East Grand Rapids, state runner-up a couple years ago. They were knocked out in their district championship last year, but they're another team out of that Grand Rapids area that could make another deep run. Further down that list, Holland Christian was a team that kind of was around 500 last year. They knocked off several ranked teams. They got to the Final Four before the Maroons had their season end, but that's another team that's definitely on the rise. Mason, out of the white division of the Capital Area Athletic Conference, they got to the regional finals last year. They did lose several key players, but they're another team out of that Lansing area that will be very good here in 2025. Goodrich ran the tables in the Flip Metro League last year. They had an exceptional freshman class last spring. A bulk of their key players are back this year. The Martians are looking to zap the field in Division II. Stevensville Lakeshore, they come out of that Southwestern Michigan Athletic Conference. A lot of Division I schools in that conference. They were 3rd last year. They made a run to the regional finals in Division II. So Lakeshore, the Lancers are out of the southwestern part of the state. They're another team to watch here in 2025. Birmingham Marion, much like Forest Hill Central, look over the last quarter century, Marion is always there. Danny Price has a ton of seniors and juniors on this team. They are very experienced. 2 years ago, they got knocked off, upset by Grosse Pointe North in that regional semifinal. Last year, they made sure that did not happen again. They got all the way to the state finals. They came up a goal short to Spring Lake, but that is a team that is very dangerous. Birmingham Marion, just a model of consistency. You can't say enough about certain programs in each of the 4 divisions where year in and year out, no matter what players are up and down their lineup, they always seem to do well. So you look at the rest of Division II, New Boston Huron lost 1 game last year. That was in a district championship to Trenton. And they're in the same conference as Grosse Seal. The Huron League with Grosse Seal, your 2-time Division III state runner-up. We mentioned them earlier in the show. So Huron is another team. They bring back a ton of players. They will be one of the best teams in that downriver area and very capable of making a deep run here in 2025. Plainwell, they were in the Final Four 2 years ago. They've won a handful of state championships. They were in a logjam last year with 6 teams in their district were ranked at parts last season. They were knocked off in the district semifinals. And then Gritch and Gold Lake, just a few miles away, there's another team. They've won 3 state championships here in the last 15 years. They won a district championship last year. They're in that Southwestern Michigan Athletic Conference, along with several Division I teams. They will contend in that league along with Portage Central in Division I. They're another team that brings back a very seasoned group, a lot of seniors and juniors on that team. Expect the Blue Devils to be a force to be reckoned with here this spring.
Dan, I'm hearing a lot of history behind these teams. They've won X amount of state championships. They're bringing so many seniors back. They're historied programs. But you see Orchard Lake St. Mary's on this list, who's only had girls in attendance at that school for how many years?
Yeah, this is just their 4th year of having a girls' high school. That school was built over 100 years ago. It was a boys-only school up until just a few short years ago. That team has come a long ways. They did lose a very good handful of seniors that graduated a year ago, but that team, Keith Jeffrey, has a very seasoned group kind of following up in the ranks. They will be one of the best teams in the Catholic High School League, and do not be surprised if they win at least a district championship here once again in 2025.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to see it. When we come back, we'll talk Division I teams to watch. Once again, you're watching the Michigan Girls High School Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network. We'll see you after this break.
Today I'm going to tell you about sportsmanship because it's important. Treat your opponents the way you would want to be treated. My mom says that. Listen to the referees. It's their job. Be nice to their team and our team. Cheer them on. Always play fair. It's the right thing to do. It's sportsmanship. It's not that hard.
At Sarah Buick GMC Rochester Hills, football season is a great time to show off our new lineup.
Like our star players,
Our beefed up defense,
our hurry up offense,
and our impressive stats.
Check out these highlights.
Right now, you can lease this GMC Sierra Elevation Crew Cab for $239 a month, or take the field in a Buick Envista Preferred for just $159 a month.
With offers this good, you should start practicing your touchdown dance.
Only at Sarah Buick GMC Rochester Hills.
In our online world, we have access to endless communication channels. But despite our online connections, one dynamic will always separate the value in a phone call from an email, and that's relationship. Growing businesses and customer relationships live and die by the phone system, and an enterprise phone solution is the key to bridging the communication gap between you and your customers. At Spectrum VoIP, we exist to make sure your communication is seamless, consistent, and reliable. With simple pricing and reliable support, we dramatically reduce your telecommunication expenses. We come to you to install, train, and onboard your team, and our 24/7 support team is always available to help. Our interactive web portal has endless features that include the real-time data you need, the ability to record, download, and re-listen to phone calls, and sending SMS text messages straight from your computer. And the best part is that all of this is available in the palm of your hand. Since reliability is one of your top priorities, we make it one of ours. So what makes us different? We don't just connect your phones. We power your connection with your customers, your team, and your next level as a business.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Michigan High School Girls Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network, presented by JustSlabbed. We're taking a look at our live Detroit station right now. We've got some girls soccer going on. You're seeing that live outside of our studio. But we've got some important things to get to. We're talking D1, and things look a little bit different for D1, Dan.
You go up and down the list, and we'll present it here in just a minute. Division I Chair Brian Middlestat and I talked earlier today, 15 teams they listed plus an honorable mention list of about 10 more schools. And we talked about there's probably another 20 schools in Division I that you could talk about as being teams that could be very dangerous in their conference, very capable of winning at least a district championship. There's so much parity up in Division I. And when we look into the future, when we start with the ranking show in a couple weeks, you'll start to see in Divisions 4, 3, and 2, you'll start to see several other schools pop up in that honorable mention category. There's several teams that we did not mention today that are very capable, again, of contending for a conference championship, maybe winning a district championship.
Over.
You never know what can happen. There's always a super pick out there. I don't think a lot of people at the midpoint of the 2024 season saw Jackson Luma Christi winning a state championship at that school. They put it all together at the right time. They upset numerous teams in their division to make a run to the state championship. So we look at Division I, there's a lot of very talented teams, a lot of schools that there's not much separates these teams. Again, we'll read off 15 teams here in just a minute, plus there's an honorable mention category as well. It's going to be exciting times here in Division I over the next 3 months.
Yeah, so let's get right into that list. We'll start with Clarkston, then we go into Byron Center, Romeo, Muskegon, Mona Shores. There's Hudsonville, Rochester, Plymouth Salem, Ann Arbor Skyline, Rockford, Heartland, who was the D1 runner-up, Utica Eisenhower, Portage Central, Troy, Saline, and Rochester Adams, who is that reigning state champ. But then we've got all those honorable mentions now on our watch list. Like you mentioned, there's Troy Athens, Rochester Stony Creek, Bluefield Hills, Livonia Stevenson, Grand Blanc, Midland Dow, Okemos, Walled Lake Northern, and New Baltimore Anchor Bay.
It all starts with your defending state champion, Rochester Adams. They've actually, in the boys soccer side, they've won 2 of the last 3 state championships, and then last spring their girls soccer team did as well. So that school has been a dominant force in Division I soccer circles here the last few years. They bring back several key starters. They've welcomed in several club players who did not play high school soccer in the past. So Rochester Adams is clearly one of your top teams entering the 2025 season. In their own league, Troy was one of the best teams last year. They were strict, and then they lost to Rochester Adams in the regional final. That was pretty much their only bad game of the season. Troy High is one of those teams that never falls too far away. They're a state title contender as well. Saline, technically skilled, very deep, several Division I and Division II players up and down their roster. They just could not figure out a way how to beat Ann Arbor Skyline. Last year they finished 0-2-1 against Skyline. Skyline knocked them off in the district championship. And then the Eagles did graduate a huge senior class last year, but like a lot of these state powerhouse teams, there's another wave kind of waiting in the wings, kind of replace those slots, and Skyline will be one of the top teams in that red division of the Southeastern Conference again this season. Heartland, your state runner-up last year. They won the Kensington Lakes Activity Association West Division Championship last year. They got knocked off in their conference tournament game against Livonia Stevenson a year ago. Stevenson's on this list as well under honorable mentions. And then Heartland made a run all the way to the state finals. They were your 2021 state champs. They lost in the finals a year ago, and the Eagles should be a very good team here again this season. Rockford, team definitely on the rise. Stu Quackenbush had a very exceptional freshman class last year to kind of fuse in with some upperclassmen. The Rams ended up winning that Ottawa-Kent Conference Red Division in kind of a unique style. Hudsonville was your #1 team all of last season, but Hudsonville got upset in the conference tournament semifinal, only finished 3rd there after finishing 1st. Rockford finished 2nd the regular season. They won the conference tournament champion, so they edged out Hudsonville for the conference crown. Hudsonville, they graduated a huge senior class, lost 14 players, plus one of their top juniors is playing ECNL only this spring. They have a new coaching staff, but Hudsonville, another team that's been very good here in the last decade. They have several younger players who hope kind of fill in that mold. Muskegon Mona Shores has been another team on that west side, been very good out of the Ottawa-Kent Conference Green Division. They were 10-0-0 in that league last year before they got knocked off by Rockford in the district semifinals. Romeo finished 2nd behind Utica Eisenhower in that Macomb area conference Red Division, but Romeo pulled the minor upset in that district opener last season, knocking off Utica Eisenhower in the 1st round. Both those two teams, along with New Baltimore Anchor Bay, should contend for the Red Division crown in the MAC. Portage Central has not won a state championship in over 20 years, but they're knocking on the door. They were in the Final Four 3 years ago, lost in the regional finals the last 2 years, and Tim Halloran has a very deep, very athletic team that is very capable of making a run back to the Final Four or perhaps even playing in the state finals. Plymouth-Salem lost some key players from their Final Four team a year ago, but they're out of that KLAA West. That's much like the OAA Red Division where everybody is essentially good. You beat up on each other time and time again. They got to the Final Four last year. Very talented team. Kyle Carnes has another group ready to kind of make a run. And then Honorable Byron Center, they won a district 2 years ago. Last year they got knocked off in the district final, but John Conlon, one of the most successful boys soccer coaches in the last quarter century here in Michigan with all of his East Kentwood teams. He is director of the show with Byron Center. There will be a team that returns a bulk of their starting lineup and will be one of the top teams out of that Grand Rapids area. Beyond that, in the honorable mentions, Troy Athens is Troy Athens. They're always very good. They tied three-way tie for second place in that OAA Red Division last year, along with Rochester Stony Creek. Stony Creek was your state champion 2 years ago. They got knocked off in a shootout by Rochester in a district opener last year. All those teams, again, they come out of the OAA Red Division, which has produced the last three state champions. Bloomfield Hills, out of the same league once again, they were your state champs in 2022. They graduated a pair of Division I players, but they have three more in their lineup again this year. So the Blackhawks were only sixth place in their league last year, but they still won a district. They were knocked off by Heartland in the regional semis. Midland was down in Division II last year. They're back up in Division I. Return most of their lineup. They will contend with Midland Dow, the two-time defending champion in the Saginaw Valley League. Dow got to the regional semifinals. They won a league and district last year. Has not lost a league game in the last two seasons. The Saginaw Valley League has become much and much deeper in recent years with those two. Grand Blanc is listed as honorable mention. Davidson is a team on the rise. Flint Powers Catholic is a Division III state powerhouse. Bay City Western has won a couple of district championships here the last couple of years in Division II. It's one of those leagues that has gotten stronger and stronger in the last decade. Okemos was down a little bit, but they were still one of the top teams last year in that CAAC Blue Division. They will battle Grand Ledge and DeWitt, return a ton of players on that roster, so the Chieftains are looking to perhaps get out of a district and make a deep run in Division I. Wall Lake Northern, another team that's been very solid here in the last few years. They come out of that Lakes Valley Conference. They were the league runner-up to Milford a year ago. They lost in the district championship to Milford as well. And then New Baltimore Anchor Bay, they have won several district championships here in the last decade. They were only fourth in that Macomb Area Conference Red Division last year. That was another very deep league, but they figure to be one of the key teams in that conference as well.
Dan, let me ask you this. Obviously, our Coaches Association does a great job compiling these lists all the time, but you see the 15 teams, and then you see those honorable mentions in your head as someone who has watched Michigan girls high school soccer for a very long time and knows what he's talking about. How close is the gap between the 15 and then the honorable mentions?
Yeah, you look at that entire list. So you have 15 and close to 10 in honorable mention. A lot of these teams, you'll see a lot of one-goal games, a lot of ties throughout the regular season. A lot of times these teams will face off in a state tournament. You'll see a lot of games go to double overtime. A lot of games will go to shootout. Plus, I talked to the division chair earlier today. There's another 20 schools not even on that list in Division I that will still be one of the better teams in their conference, still capable of winning a district championship. And you'll see that in Division II, Division III, and Division IV, where there's a lot of schools that have a lot of players back there. They're talented. They might be a defending conference champion. They might have won a district last year. They bring back several key players. They'll make some noise here in 2025. We'll start to see that list kind of grow in those lower divisions as the season progresses here over the next few months. And then the state tournament's not very far away. That begins right before Memorial Day weekend with the pre-district rounds. And then after Memorial Day weekend, we will dig in for the final 2.5 weeks of the 2025 season. So that's just 3 months away. So exciting times. Over 460 teams, as we talked about here in the beginning of the show. I believe there were 72 conference champions crowned last fall in the boys soccer season. I believe there will be 69 conference champions this spring in girls soccer. So a lot of action, a lot of great games coming up, a lot of exciting conference races to be determined. And we'll see which schools will emerge in that Final Four during the final week of the season, who will be crowned the 2025 state champions. It's just 3 months away.
It will definitely be exciting to see just how accurate these lists pan out to be. We will be right back. Once again, you're watching the Michigan High School Girls Ranking Show presented by JustSlabbed. We will be right back after this short break.
Today I'm going to tell you about sportsmanship because it's important. Treat your opponents the way you would want to be treated. My mom says that. Listen to the referees. It's their job. Be nice to their team and our team. Cheer them on. Always play fair. It's the right thing to do. It's sportsmanship. It's not that hard.
Whether you're a beginner coach or a seasoned professional, one thing remains the same: the passion to teach and inspire the next generation of players. Now imagine a place where you could share your coaching knowledge, connect with others, and create a lasting impact. Welcome to the ultimate coaching community, where coaches from all levels can create and share their own courses. Whether you have years of experience or you're just getting started, this is your chance to make your voice heard. Create your own personalized courses, share drills, strategies, and tips, and watch as your knowledge reaches coaches from all corners of the soccer world. With a platform designed for sharing, learning, and growing, you're not just teaching the game, you're creating a community of like-minded coaches, all striving to be the best they can be. Together, we'll elevate the game and support one another to be better, stronger coaches.
Today I'm going to tell you about sportsmanship because it's important. Treat your opponents the way you would want to be treated. My mom says that. Listen to the referees. It's their job. Be nice to their team and our team. Cheer them on. Always play fair. It's the right thing to do. It's sportsmanship. It's not that hard.
Welcome back to the Michigan High School Girls Ranking Show presented by JustSlabbed. I'm Kennedy Broadwell alongside Dan Stickrat. You're watching the National Soccer Network. Dan, this has been fun tonight.
This has been fun. A lot of games will be played this week. A lot of teams will be getting into action before a lot of schools disperse for spring break the following 2 weeks. A bulk of the season, the regular season, will be played in the months of April and May before that state tournament starts in late May. And here on the National Soccer Network, over close to 4,000 games from across the country we broadcast either on our YouTube or our Roku TV channels, which went live here just before the Christmas break. We're going to be reaching out to high schools here across the state of Michigan about doing some more high school games as well. Girls soccer will be contested during the spring months in 17 of the 50 states. Plus, I believe 6 states also have boys soccer in the spring months as well. So a lot of games will be played, not just here in Michigan, Kennedy, but across the country. It's exciting times as we have gone from a Michigan-based company. We are still anchored here in Shelby Township, Michigan, but now we are covering games, covering events, live shows all over the country. Can't wait to see what we can provide to the soccer community from Portland, Oregon to Portland, Maine, from Tallahassee, Florida, up to Green Bay, Wisconsin, everywhere in between. It's exciting times. Glad that you guys were all part of the initial ranking show. We looked at some of the best teams projected for the 2025 season here in our home state of Michigan. And we just can't wait to get going. We'll be back here in 2 weeks with the official top 15 plus honorable mentions as provided by the Michigan High School Soccer Coach Association. They will provide these lists every Sunday morning. We will compile all the information and present you the show from at 8 p.m. over the next couple of months.
Yeah, and I will not be with you when that's happening. Patty Serini will be right here with Dan to kick things off on April 6th. Super exciting stuff. I'm glad I got to be the one to kick things off for right before the girls' season started. But I want to tell you all about JustSlabbed, who has been so nice to us and sponsored this show.
Yeah, they are our presenting partner for the 2025 High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show. So look for JustSlabbed, look for their advertisements in our broadcast and on our website here in the upcoming weeks. And again, this has been an exciting transition here in the last few months from going from a Michigan company to a national company. And hopefully all of you will be along for the ride here, not just over the next 3 months, but the many years to come as we continue to grow, continue to present the soccer in a positive light from sea to shining sea.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stan. Once again, I'm Kennedy Broadwell. This is Stan Cigarette, and this has been the Michigan High School Girls Ranking Show presented by JustSlabbed, where your memories become legends. Visit JustSlabbed.com because your best memories deserve to be more than just a photo. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Have a great night.